just want to request you all to go into menti.com and use this code and just populate some things that said what motivated you to join this session today. So let's just get started and let's all use our phones. And as you start populating, it's going to fill up here on the screen. Yeah.
Menti.com, right?
Yes, yes. Menti.com, and you just put in the code there and you'll get this. Good. Hi, Vandita. I just see you join in, and here I just request you to go into, take your phone and get into menti.com and put in this code so that we understand what motivated you to join this session today. Yeah, good. The title was catchy and relatable. Subject is interesting. I want to get more out of life in the true sense of the term. Relevant topic for a fulfilling life. Curiosity, nice. Desire to be better. Meaning and purpose resonated with me. Great. Good. Are others? Let me just give it 30 seconds more. Otherwise, I'm. Good, and I think I agree with all of you. I mean, it's in the sense it says we all feel that when we have a lot more meaning, it leads to a higher purpose, and thereby it leads to more fulfillment and achievement, which is what we called as happiness, right? So I guess pretty much all of us are in that same zone. So let me move on to one more question from all in this segment. 1 second. I also want to ask you all, when I say meaning, what is one word that comes to your mind? The inner desire, purpose. There's a reason, world, cause, the North Pole, alignment to me. Great, great, great. So I remember a quote. When I see all these things coming, I'm forced to share this with you. It looks like this audience here will resonate with this. It says definitions are found in dictionaries and meaning is found in people, right? So we need, so as human beings, I think when we have meaning and when we are able to get meaning for others, that's where we all find this joy, where there are intersections that we are able to build through meaning. And I think purpose evolves automatically as a process of having more meaning to our lives. And as it goes, as we say, even in relationships, etc. So we always say that it would be wonderful to build a relationship only through time. And I think it is very important to see how much of time and meaning we are able to build into each of the life roles that we play. And that's what I wanted to focus this session on. So it's good to get some sense that I understand that the title all resonated with a lot of people, and there was some curiosity there, and you all have some definition of what meaning means to each one of you. So let's spend some time in doing a quick tool which is used by a lot of us as coaches, but I guess it's also a tool which has benefited a lot of executives through how they are able to manage their time through the roles that they play in life, and because of that, how much meaning they are able to build into their life roles. So I'm going to go and share a whiteboard with all of you, and I want you all to keep your pen and paper ready so that you get to do some reflection. Way of looking at how do we build more meaning in our into our everyday lives is to start looking at a balance of high, medium, and low priority. So if we are able to have a few in each category, then that is one way of seeing whether am I focusing on the high priority life roles and getting more out of them, or feeling in harmony with these life roles. So our overall objective is to see how much of harmony, and harmony is a balance between as is and to be, right? That's what I would define it. I don't know if others have any other thoughts on what would harmony be for each one of you. Any thoughts on harmony?
Think and in peace.
Sorry?
Being in sync.
Being in sync, right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Your as is and to be is in sync, and that's when we say we are in harmony. And so we may want to consider how we are working across these different life roles to start building more meaning into each one of them, so that we are able to look at our own selves. And as we said, right, meaning definitions are found in dictionaries and meaning is found in people. We'll have to start looking at how many people are we impacting in these life roles. So that's when the dot between first you need to be in harmony. You need to feel the connection and meaning in each of the life roles. And it also goes into how much you're able to make an impact on with others. So that's when once you start having people in these life roles whom you are making an impact on, or you are enabling a better life or a better something for the other person, that's when you start building meaning. When I say this, does it seem right, or is there some other thoughts in all of you, in your from your any other perspectives? Hi, Venkat.
Yeah, so Priya, this is Ram. I just have one view, which is I agree that there is a need for balance between as is and to be, like you put it. But I think meaning also comes from, having goals, having a certain purpose that you are, like they say, the secret of passion is purpose, right? So you need to have a larger purpose behind your existence, if I have to put it that way. Plus also, you need to boil it down to, goals that are driving your, let's say, your daily, weekly, monthly behavior as well.
True. Absolutely. I mean, and it's right, Ram, when you say purpose, but what we are trying to say is, hey, how do I find that purpose? The purpose is something that I'm going to get when I find meaning in activities that I do, right? So some of us are in the search of our purpose, or some of us may have already have an idea or have a definition of what our purpose is, and we may be marching towards it. But it starts with whether we are getting towards that purpose with meaningful activities in our everyday life. Because what I'm sensing is there is a lot of unfulfillment in the way some of us lead our everyday lives, and in that we are also marching towards this purpose. So there is a disconnect between what as human beings we may be going through in life, and also having a purpose somewhere in the vicinity or in a near or a distant future, right? So we're trying to see how much of the activities or the life roles that we play and how much meaning that we build into each of them. And I think and meaning comes with the time that we're able to give in each of these life roles, and it needs to be a quality time if it's with family, or if it is with friends, or if it is with your work colleagues. So everything needs to have some form of meaning and a definition that gives us some kind of a fulfillment, and then that makes the journey towards the purpose more, I would say, aligned rather than a dissonance.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, maybe I'll give a different perspective here, Priya.
Absolutely, yes, Vijay.
So
Vijay,
I think
Vijay can give a perspective only when he comes on video, right?
Yeah, so I'm in now. Visually also I'm in now.
Very good.
So I think more of a self-reflection here is most of the time it takes a lot. Well, let's put it this way: it takes a lot of time for us to really find our purpose. Most of the time we are on auto mode, and being busy. I think that's the right way of putting things, right? So I'm in a different phase in my life now. So I'm looking at a contrast between what it was when I was in a corporate job to what it is now. So corporate job, you do the things and you see that something is keeping you busy, but at the end of the day, you try, what did I achieve and where am I going? Sometimes it'll be lost. But I think things get much better when you have an opportunity to do a slow thinking. So I think one of the things which would really make an impact would be like, how can we help people to, while they are still firefighting, how can we make the shift from fast thinking, taking time to think slow, as some basic existential persons, like and then basically, then whatever happens as an outcome, that has a huge capability to mean something to individuals' life. I had one conversation with one of my coaches day before yesterday, and that was about the identity of that person in terms of who they think they are. And the things related to what is that they really want to do in life. And that person has been so busy, never even thought about this thing. He said that I've never even entered into these places. So I think that basically comes to my mind in terms of, we think we are all in the same boat there, and I think we all need to take help from each other to make sure that we get that slow thinking.
Absolutely, you're right. And I think that's what we say when we are able to slow down to achieve more, right? So I think it requires a conscious reflection. The me time needs to be there for every individual during or at the end of the day, so that you steal that, like your power naps. You definitely need to have the power me times to slow down and reflect, hey, what have I done in the morning with the different things that I'm working on, and perhaps what should I be doing differently? So those are things, I think the me time is an important role and often ignored, and people look at it as a time to just go and focus on an activity. So more of the me time goes into doing rather than being. So, and that's where that's
I would also add,
you should not mention power nap. Ram is looking at his watch, which is why he's not on video.
I think I would also add that most of us need help to really understand what to do in the me time. There'll be me time, but
Yeah.
probably we don't really use it in the right way.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's why these roles, the reason was to say, hey, we're all doing so many different roles, and often we think it's only work or family and, the sleep are some of the top roles that we come in. Of course, some of us also say health, but there are so many other roles that we all actually play in our everyday lives. And if we are not conscious about whether it's making sense, how we are aligning ourselves to each of these roles, it needs some bit of reflection, awareness, reflection, and moving to action, right? So that's when we start building this circle of saying, hey, I had a wonderful day today and I feel happy, and how can I have more such days, right? So that's when the inner urge towards meaning starts. And therefore, I think and from there on, when we start doing activities, we don't know, we may be faster to our destination of our purpose or whatever we call it. So the inner journey is very important to give that external, what can we say?
Discover the external purpose.
Yeah, not the external purpose, the external or the visible dynamics, right, that we call purpose. Purpose is Priya has this purpose, or Vijay has this purpose. It's what others tell us. So there is a connection between what others see us in the journey to where we are going, right? So there is meaning in our activities, and they are able to see that as fulfillment. So there is this connection of meaning and fulfillment that we are able to drive for ourselves, and others are able to see. So I think that acknowledgement from both ways, that whereas some of us others may feel that we are doing it, but inside us we may have a vacuum, right? So I'm trying to say that we need to break that away. So there needs to be that harmony comes when we feel it and others see it as well.
Is it normal that Krishan Chopra is very quiet?
Yes. So I think I listening to others, I was reflecting on what we saw a little while ago, that the need for the preferred time is beyond 168 hours.
Right.
Now, I think the catch there is that we also have to think as to what not to do. Because there are a lot of things which we do, which we feel are adding value either to ourselves or to the others, but in reality they don't. And therefore that extra 10 hours or 15 hours that we are looking for can definitely come from there. And I also relate that to what Vijay just now spoke about, slow thinking. So that comes from slow thinking. As to what I not to be doing comes from slow thinking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's that's my 1 or 2 points.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I think that's also important. Destruction is actually, destroyer is one of the emotions or the archetypes that we all have the ability to. And I think destruction is very important. It can be very constructive to leading more fulfilling lives, right? So we need to stop. It's not just about start doing more things, but it's about stop doing few things that can give you more fulfillment and meaning. So we'll have to start reflecting about what are some of the things that can go away from your plate or go away from the activities that you are involving or doing right now, that can give more meaning to the other life roles that you have.
Absolutely. I think, one thing that I'm thinking of is indiscriminate browsing.
Absolutely. And thanks for bringing that up.
Digital drifting, actually.
Yeah.
Falling prey to the fads.
Yes. There are, I just wanted to highlight for the benefit, and I'm also conscious of time, but just a few more minutes. There are 3 things that we should be aware of, because sometimes our roles that we all saw, there could be something called role competition. There is also something called role conflict. and time imbalance. So these are the three predominant reasons why we may have some dissatisfaction in the roles. So competing roles that are coming up in your that are taking your action, attention, and priorities, etc. So roles could be competing with you. And then there could be roles that could be conflicting, situations where you have to make choices of one role at the expense of the other, right? And that kind of constantly leads to some kind of frustration, guilt, stress. And that's also something that we need to be aware of, role conflict. And then time imbalance. That's what Venkat was talking about, the distractions that can be that can be kept for a period of time in a more conscious way. So role competition, role conflict, and time imbalance are some of the things that we need to be aware of. I'm just going to quickly ask Janani. Janani, since we had the opportunity of looking at your sheet, does this occur in your life role? So is it, do you see some competition, conflict, or imbalance there, time imbalance?
See, I think it depends on the life stage that everyone is in. For me, I have a very small child. Plus, as a person, I'm passionate of doing multiple things that are beyond work. So there is always this competition. I have a separate weekend life where I focus on my, building a second career or building my passion. While my weekdays are filled with my office work, household responsibilities, and my child. So, I look at it as a life stage thing. And what helps me quite a lot is yoga and meditation, because that has helped me to just accept things as they are. The moment we accept that, yes, this is the reality of today, then our ability to deal with whatever comes ahead of us becomes much better. And that's really has been my practice. And to your point, Priya, on me time, for me it's must, morning and in the night, where I try to shed off everything that I've gathered from the day, and then start the next day. Before my responsibilities start in the morning, I have my me time. So I can plan for the day, and I do that even during the weekday, the weekend, for the weekdays. So that way it helps me organize my responsibilities, but it's not easy at all. Again, on the times, there are sometimes I feel it'll be great to have some entertainment, like just sit and watch a movie, but I don't think I have that privilege at this point of time, and I've accepted that. It's at the end of the day, how do we come with peace with all of these situations that we are encountering? That's how I look at it.
But let's say that there are certain things that you want to, let's say you want to catch this movie, but you have accepted that that's not going to be possible. What can make that possible for you, Janani?
No, I've lowered my interests on that because I'm very clear on my priority in life, actually.
Yeah. No, but is lowering the interest, if let's say that's not an option, technically Janani should enjoy everything, right? That's what let's assume that that's what you should, let's say you have accepted it, which is a good thing. We're not going to say, but what would give you the joy of enjoying that movie in addition to how can the and be built into your life than the or?
The point is, when I add more ands, it actually adds more stress. So if I just keep it or, and I can always catch up on a movie 5 months later too, but maybe I cannot see my child growing at this time, or like I cannot publish a paper at a different point of time because it might lose its relevance, especially in these days. So I think it's about having that perspective and then making a decision on what's important.
Absolutely. It's a good thing. There's nothing right and wrong here, but some things that we could consider perhaps is how do we role blend? There are some of these life roles which you can blend, and that could perhaps give you that opportunity to have a couple of extra things that you may not, that may be off your plate right now. Or it can make the existing role more meaningful. So let's say you exercise with your child. would that be more meaningful, or would we do something? So how can family and health be blended together? So certain roles have the opportunity to be blended, and we may want to start considering them so that we are having more family time, or a more time to socialize, perhaps a friend and you doing a yoga session together, so you're also catching up over a chat but also doing the yoga. So seeing whether roles can be blended is one way where we could make the existing roles more meaningful, or trying to see whether I can add something in addition and make that role more meaningful. So that's options to consider. And of course, diversity is definitely one of the options that we say, how much of diversity is there in the lives that we lead. That's what will create more meaning into our into our lives and into our activities, right? So if you're going to do more of the same, it could lead to boredom or sometimes frustration. So how much are you moving across these life roles on a daily basis? It shouldn't be just a product of 3 or 4 roles, but are you having the 5th and 6th elements in your everyday life? So that's what will also help you define meaning, because some of the life roles become a must-dos in some way. We can't run away from work. We can't run away from sleep. There are certain things which are definitely becomes a must-do over a period of time. So how can you have the 5th or 6th role? So it's not necessary that we need to do all 10 roles every day, but definitely don't do only 3 roles, right? So ensure you have the 5th and 6th there to kind of create more meaning into your everyday lives. It'll be interesting to understand what did each one of you get from this exercise.
For me, let me begin with whatever my understanding of this was. For me, it is a lesson to be back on track, to prioritize, to be conscious of what I am doing, and get back on track on what I need to do to get a good, meaningful life.
Okay, I mean,
for myself and for those around me.
Who's speaking here? Is that Nina?
Yes, Nina.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was just unable to find out who was speaking. Sorry. Thanks, Nina. You could also share in your points into this thing so others can see the extent of reflection from our small audience.
Okay.
Awareness.
900.
Good. There are some interesting learnings here, which and thanks for sharing. It's about, one says, the awareness of the fact that I don't focus on some of the roles. Good, and that's what we said. Try combining the roles, and I think someone has got that insight as well. And you're spending much less time on things that that actually should mean more, right? So some of these things are good. We need to be conscious of where we need to prioritize. Yes, and prioritization is very important when we can't, sometimes we go in this autopilot mode of jumping from one role to the other, and that's where I think taking some time off to reflect whether what I'm really doing is really of priority or not, right? So taking that time to reflect, set priorities across your life roles will also help you to drive meaning in some of the roles that we play. And of course, periodic reflection helps arrive at some balance and thereby feels more meaningful about life that's lived. Okay, good. And with awareness comes choice, and now I know I have to prioritize roles to achieve greater meaning. So true. I mean, it's I mean, meaning is not something that we can just jump and get, just like purpose is not something that just falls from somewhere, right? So we need to start building a set of things that we do, activities in life, or roles that we play in life, so that there is more connection to you and to others that are enjoying that role along with you, right? So that's what we need to start thinking about, to build these connect the dots to the roles, to the time, to the priority, and therefore more meaning, and therefore to purpose and more fulfilling and, happier lives. So I should say thanks to each one of you for taking the time and coming into this session. I hope you are all able to use this as you reflect and take your lives forward, or in the roles that you all play as coaches or etc. in your careers. So it's a good way to reflect on with some of the coaches as well. So I should say thank you and wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you.